So that one's muted. This one's muted. Now I'm going to do an audio check. You might have got a little refreshing symbol there. So that one's muted. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of refreshing. And let's see. Yeah, if my mouth and voice seem out of sync, make sure your live red dot is still present, because the way I started this up today had a little glitch there. Make sure you got that red dot there. If you don't see the red dot, then just click on live right here, and that should get you back to the red dot, and I think you'll see visual and audio back into sync. So, good morning. 9:01 a.m. now. It was 9 o'clock straight up when I started the stream. February 27th, 2023 on a Monday morning. And I have a backup live stream scheduled just in case there's trouble today. At the top of the screen, you see dropped frame 0. So far, so good. I'm going to come straight over here to channel comments and go straight to Joseph's comment here. Says, I don't know if it's common knowledge or what, but when searching for the amount of RAM, the spec sheet says 16 gigabytes, but WMIC command outputs 32 gigabytes as the max. Which should someone reference when quoting a customer? I suspect, Joseph, that what you're seeing there is the original amount of maximum memory for the computer was 16 gigabytes, but a BIOS upgrade since then has increased the maximum amount of RAM for that computer, in which case the 32 gigabytes would be the better choice. Now, some other people in chat might have some other responses to that, so I encourage you to go look at the chat comments. They're not going to be immediately available when this live stream is over. It might take up to a day, up to 24 hours before the chat comments become available when you're replaying the video. So I'm going to come over here to today's show and click share and copy that link, and then go let Joseph know that I replied at the beginning of this video. I replied near the beginning of, and then paste that link for him. And then give a thumbs up and a heart to that comment. Then I'll go check and see if you're giving me any warnings or alerts in chat. No, nothing there. So then I'm going to move along to other comments that are very, very old. This one from Greg M. from 12 days ago. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Scroll down to it. One thing about the LastPass breach is that they also got a backup copy apparently from September 20th, 2022 of people's encrypted vaults. These backups are not protected by any 2FA you have set up. Well, that's true, because when you log into your LastPass account, you can get hit with your two-factor authentication. But if they have downloaded the encrypted vault, if they subsequently can break your password for that vault, then they could get into your vault without having to do a two-factor authentication. So I agree with that statement. LastPass also did not automatically increase the iterations in existing accounts. These iterations help strengthen the encryption of your LastPass vault. I disagree with that. That uses your master password. The setting that you can do in LastPass for the number of iterations controls the number of iterations that happens on the client side, on your computer side. When they receive the information from you, they go through the additional iterations that they have documented as 100,100 at my last knowledge. The iteration that you can change on the client side, on your computer side, controls the number of iterations that your computer performs before sending the content to LastPass. And I think that actually is only in regards to your master password. Then when they receive your vault contents and your master password, they go through additional iterations. Now, that's my understanding, the way that Steve Gibson described it. Now, for those of you who might have heard Steve Gibson on Security Now, in his earlier research into the LastPass breach, he did not realize that at the beginning. Then he corrected that in a later episode. And then the recommended setting for the number of iterations is 600,000. I don't know where you get that from, because my understanding is that the military was at 100,100. So where you say the recommended setting is for 600,000, well, whose recommendation? Maybe somebody described that. I think Steve actually mentioned that himself at one point, but that was even before he corrected his understanding of the iterations issue. Now, I got to qualify that I am speaking from my recollection of watching those episodes back a while back. So I'll caution you to research that a little bit more, because I think that's a little bit not correct right now. The problem is that some longtime LastPass users have this number set to 6. And the clarification that Steve came up with that was that earliest users of LastPass who have never updated their password since their first password was still set at 6. But people who have updated their master password more recently than, what was it, 15 years ago or 20 years ago, something like that, it would automatically increase the iterations. So I don't know how well researched Greg M. went through this, but I would challenge that to go through a little more research. LastPass would increase this number for new accounts, but apparently not proactively incrementing it for existing accounts. Now, I think part of that could be explained by, once your computer is set at a certain level, I'm not sure that LastPass actually has control over your computer. It seems like with an update for LastPass, they could change the iterations, but not sure about that piece. But I want to caution people in thinking that some people only have 6 iterations for their entire vault as contained at LastPass's computers. My understanding is that would be an incorrect thing to say. The result is that vault encryption is relying solely on the strength of your LastPass master password. And again, I challenge that. So, but thank you, Greg, for your comment there. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm still near the beginning here. And I'm going to tell him that I replied to this a few minutes into this video and paste that link. And then click reply. So I got the heart and the thumbs up. Now let's go take a look at chat and see if you're giving me any alarms here. Internet update. I'm still very suspicious about my internet performance. I have a backup live stream scheduled, but still at the top of your screen, you're seeing that I have drop frames 0. So Comcast came out, they replaced coax from the street terminal into the side of my house, the box on the side of my house. And since then, I have had one very poor performance period of time. It didn't last very long. So I'm still very suspicious of it. But I have not had any troubles in both my Fortnite streaming and my Live Windows Training streaming since then. So good morning to all of you who have shown up in here. Brian saying, remember back in July when all of you said, I can't wait for winter and some colder weather? Yeah, I remember that, and I've got the winter now, and I am enjoying it. And now I'm looking forward to spring and summer. I've got spring outside of my balcony, my second-story balcony, looking out over an orchard of walnut trees. They are all in blossom right now. So I'm calling this spring, even though I've got rain for the last few days and through today. And Greg to Brian saying he's got his first cup of coffee. I am drinking coffee again. I bought myself a new coffee maker, and I've been drinking coffee recently. I've been off of it for quite a long time. Greg recovering from two-hour support chats this morning at 2 a.m. Oh, good grief. Oh, well, Greg M., that's the one I just responded to, right? Okay, so Greg M. is here. Two-hour-long support chats this morning at 2 a.m., the chat from Amazon. I thought I had been connected to AliExpress support. It was truly a horrible experience. I was on a phone conversation with a client this morning that's expecting an AT&T installation today. They gave them an 8-hour window for this installation today. I told her the story last week about my 12 p.m. to 2 noon appointment with Comcast when they showed up at 7:50 a.m. And I also told her about my recent experience with Amazon, where 3 days in a row it said your delivery will arrive by 10 p.m. It never did arrive. Wound up canceling that delivery. Yeah, scheduling of drivers just very, very messy. I really would like, and Greg M saying, "Yep, I'm here." I would really like them all to take lessons and help from Uber, because Uber is so good. When their cars are scheduled to come, you can watch them on a map. They arrive right when they say they're going to be there, and you can watch them arrive. Now let's go see what else do I have in here. So that was all Greg M. Then Colvia Solveri. I have this, let's see, this is regarding the Xfinity issue. That's been getting a lot of watch time recently, a lot of comments from people. I haven't been reading all of the comments. This one says, I have the same issue, though mine's a bit different. Speed test on my Google Mesh router at the source plugged into the modem is only getting 540 megabits per second. I'm paying for 1200. Well, that could be something going on with your mesh router. All of the equipment in between, the Ethernet cabling, any switches, any routers, the Ethernet adapter in your devices, are they all up to snuff? You got to go check them in all of those locations. And then when you connect a computer directly to your service provider's router with no other devices attached, disconnect everything else, just one computer connected by Ethernet to your internet service provider. What speed are you getting then? Because that's what you're paying for. What you get at your end devices after going through maybe your Wi-Fi or Ethernet adapters or Ethernet cables or switches, or if you have your own router, they're not responsible for any of that. And because you're paying up to 1200, and that's what I'm paying for, up to 1.2 megabits. They're not promising 1.2 gigabits. Sorry, I said megabits there. That's 1200 megabits per second or 1.2 gigabits. Same story. Everything is showing fine. According to the technicians, it's the same for me as far as longer it's on, the slower it gets. The longer it's on, the slower it gets. You got to test that over and over and over because I've found that tests are always inconsistent. You cannot do 2 speed tests in a row and get the exact same numbers. Not going to happen. Doesn't work that way. I'm a gamer, so I shut down all the background functions that are unnecessary on Windows using the Razor software to speed up the access so Windows isn't doing what it typically does with just everything it recommends running in the background. I want to know if you know how to adjust the mesh router to fix the tendency for negotiation to request less than half of what I'm paying for. I do not know how to make the adjustments to the mesh router. We got to know more about this. Let's see, it's a Google Mesh router. Some people in chat might be giving some responses. There might be comments that come back in response to this video. If you will come on with me in a live session, like in a Zoom session where we can have back and forth conversations, we could dig deeper into it. I need to have an interaction with you to go do the research about all the possible things that could be happening without getting some additional diagnostic and troubleshooting information from you. That's really an excessive amount of work for me to go through without a live interaction with you. So you can send an email to me at the address that I'll display at the end of this show. Now, you should be looking at Task Manager on your Performance tab on the Ethernet and look at the numbers here. Chances are you do not need anywhere near the number that you're asking for. That 1.2 gigabits, your computer is never going to use that much. I don't care what gaming you're going to be using. If you look at the actual send and receive numbers, you're going to find you're not accommodating or utilizing anywhere near that. And probably the speeds that you're getting right now is more than your computer is capable of using anyway. The games won't try to use any more of that. So then I'll get let's see, I'm going to say it's not even giving, that's right, it doesn't give me a time increment while I'm still live streaming. So I'm going to tell this person that I replied around let's see, I probably started this one maybe around the 10-minute mark in this video. And then paste that. Okay, then thumb up and heart that. Then Peter Dobson, the real limitation of AI, this is talking about ChatGPT, is its inability to use experience, to think outside the box, to come up with creative solutions to very difficult real-life problems. Agreed. And on the Saturday show, I commented about, we don't need to talk about all the things that a hammer cannot do. ChatGPT is a tool, and yeah, it doesn't think outside of the box. It's only going to be thinking according to its database that was provided to it in September of 2021. It's a very outdated database. When human beings are put into high-pressure situations, given unreasonable requests for solutions by management, they often step up to the plate with a creative solution that ticks all the boxes. However, one of the things that I see here, ChatGPT can actually help a person think of things that they haven't thought through, because it's going to look through a database of knowledge that humans aren't as good at doing. So ChatGPT can be a good tool for humans to use. Humans are not a good tool for ChatGPT to use because it basically can't. Pressure makes diamonds, while the AI, not experiencing time, economic, other pressures, will not be able to step up to the plate and hit it out of the park. Just a personal observation. And I'll say, thank you, Peter. I replied to your comment around the 14-minute mark and then paste that video. See if it'll spell correction will give me that. Yep, I'm going to pop back over to chat, see what you're telling me. I do have Ken Stout's Premiere redirect set up for the bottom of the hour. So I'll be getting back to that. He's back on caffeine. You seem to be going fast. I try to go fast every day to try to make these sessions quick and concise. I'm not aware that I'm talking any faster than I usually do. Some from Zavi Manor. Do you know the option YT stats for nerds? With the right mouse on the video, I have dropped 123 from the beginning of the stream. My screen still shows 0 drop frames from my side. Do you know the option on YouTube, stats for nerds? I do remember that. With the right mouse on the video, stats for nerds. So I'm going to go back to the video, try right-clicking on the video, stats for nerds right here. Oh, yeah, I haven't looked at this in a long time. Viewport dropped, 22 dropped. So the frames coming into my computer have dropped 22 frames. So what is the reason for that? Volume normalized 100%, codecs, connection speed, 16,800 connection speed. At the top of my broadcast to you, you're seeing 5879 bit rate, and that number's changing a little bit. Is that what this number is in relation to? This is showing that my receiving of this video is faster than my sending of it. Network activity, buffer health, live latency. Oh, that's 3.56 seconds. Oh, that's awesome. Ken Stout, pay attention here. When you're looking at your latency, come in here. This should be giving you a precise number for your latency. Manifestless, optimized for ultra low latency. I guess you could tell on somebody's video, you can check to see what their latency is set for. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Very cool. All right, so that was by right-clicking on the video. How do I get rid of that? Oh, this X in the upper right corner gets rid of it. Okay, very good, Sabi. Thanks for that. Client's keeping me busy from Nick. Wintermute's got a Google Nest. I'll bet this is the comment in how to make adjustments. Troubleshoot slow internet on Google Nest Wi-Fi or Google Wi-Fi. So let's see. This would be attention to, let's see, this one, Google Mesh. Covia Silveri, Google Mesh. This says Google Nest. Is Google Nest and Google Mesh the same thing? I think so. Slow performance, high speed, Wi-Fi speed can vary depending upon a few things. Of course, the mesh is Wi-Fi. That's the whole reason why you have mesh is for Wi-Fi. Mesh and Ethernet? No, that's not a thing. That's like your tennis shoes are worn out, so you're going to buy a new set of tires. No, it's tires don't go on your feet. Things that could affect your Wi-Fi speed, devices far from the Wi-Fi router or the mesh point, building materials in the way, internet speed from your provider, devices connected. So here's some things for you to look at on that question. So then scanning through these, Stat for Nerds shows my connection speed as connection speed 12,185 kbps. So that's 12 megabits per second. Greg has 35 drop frames. More ChatGPT content from Good Morning America. Take a quick look at that. Good Morning America on their explores ways AI chatbots such as ChatGPT make work more productive. I'll leave that to you folks to go look at that. Brian has latency of 0. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm wondering if that latency is referring to the latency from YouTube to your computer and maybe does not involve the latency that comes from my XSplit to YouTube. So here I'm seeing live latency 3.5, 3.1. So that should mean that there would be 3 seconds. If that latency number covers everything from my computer to receiving it again from YouTube, then that should be 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to put my finger up in the air and then count how long it takes for me to see that on my monitoring of YouTube. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There, took 6 seconds. So it looks to me like there's latency from my computer to YouTube, then from YouTube to your computer, or in my case, my computer. Then let's see, Ken Stout, how did you get there? How did I get where? Oh, to the thing that I was showing Ken Stout. You go to the video that you're watching, right click, and then choose Stats for Nerds at the bottom of this screen. And that's how you get this screen. Okay, that was answering Ken Stout's question. Did you get it that time? Conversation between peoples. Nick Poberman, I dropped my Google Mesh for the TP-Link Deco. It is so much better. So there is another response for the question about Google Mesh. Things that can affect your internet speed. Darren Gilholm is on the line. So if Darren Gilholm is in your session, that can affect your internet speed. Is that what Robert is saying? People picking on each other in this community. Walmart went on Saturday. Garrett is laughing at something. So here's 9:24. Do I have time? Oh, I have a email that I'll reply to from Anthony Peters. I'm not going to bring it up on screen so I don't expose his email address. He was referring to my question on Saturday when I was talking about, I had a topic in my list of topics on Saturday about guiding a client to an icon on the desktop, because I told my client, is there an icon on your desktop called DougBetts Remote? And she said, no, there isn't. Eventually, I came to realize that she was looking down on the taskbar for an open application, DougBetts Remote. Well, I wasn't connected remotely yet, so it wouldn't show up down there. My question to the community is, how do you guide a person to look to the desktop? Now, what Anthony Peters was responding with here is not going to work for that situation. And he was saying type the Windows key and the letter D at the same time. What that will do is that will minimize all the programs that are open so that you then see the desktop. Well, my client was already at that point, already had the desktop exposed. So Windows key D was not going to get her there. But after reading that comment, somehow that did give me the idea that a way that I could do that is to tell her to press the Windows key in the bottom left of the keyboard. When I've got somebody that I know isn't getting the verbiage quite right or not understanding it, I'll tell them, press the Windows key. It's on the bottom left of the area of the keyboard to the left of your space bar. And I add that last bit at the left, about the left of the space bar, because I have had people, when I tell them to press the Windows key, I come to realize that they're using their mouse, trying to click on the Windows button on the screen. Now that would work, but I want to really control what they're doing. So Windows key, which should on the bottom left of your keyboard to the left of the space bar. They can't mistake that, right? So once you do that, like I have done here, then type Doug, D-O-U-G. If they have an icon on their desktop called DougBetts Remote, or if it's anywhere on their computer, it'll show up here. So I say, do you see a search result on that window that says DougBetts Remote? If so, click on that. So that's another tool in my toolkit for getting through that problem. Then let's see. So I have responded to Anthony's question there. Now he also refers to himself as Tony P and a casual looker at your channel. So I don't know if he's watching very often. So I'll give a reply to that email after I stop the live stream and give him the link. I'm not going to do that on screen again because I don't want to expose his email address. Ken has 0 latency on live latency, and I think, again, that is the time from YouTube to Ken Stout. Since he's a high priority person, YouTube sends everything out to him immediately with no delay because they know he's going to get upset if they give him any delay whatsoever. Stats for Nerds, mystery text. Right click and go to this one and see what that gets us to. Full list of status codes for the new stat called mystery text in Stats for Nerds. The new stat called mystery text has appeared in Stats for Nerds panel, which looks like the following. Oh, it looks like this has information encoded into it. We have deduced that the number after the letter S represents a status code for D player, maybe for the player. For example, S4 equals video paused. Anyone knows the full list of codes available? Thanks. And then here's this details. Watch and subscribe. So I don't think that's giving us more because that's not somebody responding. X for status, 4 is for pause, 8 is for playing. So this looks like it gives us more information there. What is this one? Browse the YouTube community. I don't think that's on that topic. Not certain. 2 minutes left to go, less than 2 minutes. Storms in the morning. John Williams did a speed test on 2 different computers that are connected to the same desktop switch, and for some reason the speeds are way different. Why is that? Well, what's going on with the 2 different computers? Anything going on in the background is going to be affecting that. If you bring up your task manager and look in processes, what all is running in here, how much utilization is your CPU, memory, disk, network, and GPU using at the time, and even speed tests on the same computer, you're going to get different speeds. It says to the same desktop switch, for some reason the speeds are way different. I have had many times on the same computer, on this computer, on Big B's build, 2 sequential speed tests performed within the same 2-minute period of time can be very different based upon what else is going on inside your building, in your community, on your computer. There's just a lot of stuff going on. If you go watch on a process monitor from sysinternals, or from the one that monitors internet activity, network activity. I can't think of it right now. Not WinSock. All right, I'm not going to think of it quick enough. Then Zavima Nor gives us this, and then I'm going to have to end this thing real quick. A 2-minute timer. All right. So that'll be it. Here's the email address if you want to send me a question by email. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.